Hello and welcome to my video. Starting off this instructional and entertaining video is painting number one. Painting number one is an experiment because it is kicking off this entire painting project. The experiment was in the gesso color. Usually a gesso is white. In this painting, I decided to start with black. Black allows for more shadow and detail in darker areas. Most paintings have their own unique challenges. This painting's unique challenge was painting without any conceptual drawing. The goal at the end of this painting is to make sure it is completed. A completed painting is a successful painting and helping to contribute to this project. While looking at the painting, there are various points of interest. There is an axe, bottles, fireplace, a door, chairs, and a table. This scene is a science fiction scene, created with bright and beautiful color. A sketchbook is important for every artist. Most paintings in this painting project began as a rough sketch in a sketchbook. Then I transferred the drawing onto a gessoed canvas using a grid or another way in order to paint a beautiful picture. The gessoed canvas is black in color, and I painted the rough sketch onto the canvas using a size 0 brush. The original sketch was recreated onto the canvas for the painting to be completed and be a success. There is a lot going on in this scene. There are bubbles popping in a lava-like substance that is giving nutrients to trees with spiky thorns. There is a fluorescent blue plant resting on the side of a cliff. The atmosphere is showing that there is a different terrain in this science fiction realm. This painting is a science fiction painting. The theme shows flying cars and buildings that are catering to them for transit. To begin the painting, I started with a grid. The grid was laid out on a gessoed canvas and is helping to recreate from the original sketch. This is something that has to be duplicated several times. A layer is painted, and then another grid is drawn on top. To complete the entire process, multiple grids may be necessary and multiple washes on the canvas. Shadows are created with different washes and different pigments of color. Clouds are different to paint. The blue is laid down, and then white is laid down in layers with various brush patterns and strokes, and also different brushes help to add to the effect. Some paintings are easier than others. This painting is part of a cartoon or an animation. The goal is to paint solid colors into the canvas and have no color go over the outline that is painted black. This painting is a neat painting to look at. When it was finished, there's a lot of beautiful colors and perspective that make this a unique drawing, painting, and something that can go further in design and entertainment. This painting started with a sketch. A lot of paintings in this painting project start with a sketch out of my sketchbook. The sketch is of a magician. The magician is casting a spell. The spell includes skulls that have pointy objects on their foreheads and flames coming off of their bodies. Brushes used to create this painting are a long-handled filbert-sized one brush, a long-handled round-sized one brush, and a long-handled flat-sized one brush. To build paint layers onto a canvas, a clean brush is required, and also cleaning the palette that the paint is on is also necessary. When deciding what color palette to use, a color wheel is a useful selection. A painter can look at the color wheel and look at different color combinations. This has a lot of complementary colors. Mixing primary colors helps an artist to understand what pigments work best to create desired hues of colors. After the primary, secondary, and complementary colors have been selected and used, then an artist can look at their painting palette and begin with tertiary color selections and combinations by using a color wheel as a reference. When an artist is almost done with their painting, there's a decision-making process that is required. The artist has to make the decision when is the painting completed. Before they make that decision, it may be important to look over the entire painting, add different areas of white for highlights, get those tones in that you didn't have before, and also add different highlights. In this painting, I thought that the red and orange on the door concrete brick is a special highlight to show that the room has ambience and give a little bit more character to the painting. Every artist creates backgrounds that are unique and three-dimensional. In this background, different colors are located in different areas. The markers create a vibrant display. This is a sketchbook drawing. The sketchbook is laid out and then color copied into a computer program. The computer program allows for easy digital coloring using the computer program's features. An easy way to begin a drawing or a painting is to scribble all over the page with a pencil. The areas of the scribble marks that intersect are a good anchor point to begin using perspective. The different anchor points in perspective together make building a figure easier. The pencils that an artist should choose from are H to 4H. Those are hard pencils. Softer pencils are B pencils, B through B8. H pencils are easy to erase, or easy to go over with a softer pencil such as a B6. Now that a character has been built using pencils, an artist can now go ahead and decide character design. Here I have selected different facial features for the character. And also, the other character has the same facial features, and I can see what the body is going to look like. Further in the character development process, I have drawn the character's wardrobe and added swatch colors next to the character's wardrobe items, such as the hat or shoes. The other character in the painting has a color palette selected for it also. Now we can look at the background. I used the scribble technique to start this background and also build upon it using three-dimensional design. The background is easy to paint. I can use the scribble technique to add complementary colors or contrasting colors, and I have also decided the palette for different things in this painting. Using a sketchbook that has 80-pound or better paper is important for artists. Artists like to use pointy items such as nibbed pens or sharp pencils to create outlines of figures and characters. They can also avoid creating burn marks when erasing on the page. Filling every page of the sketchbook is important. An artist can look at each page that is designed to come up with new characters and new storylines. Character design is important for characters that are cartoons. It shows what the cartoon character is going to be participating in and what adventures can be happening along the way. In this painting, there is a variety of lights and light sources. Looking at the painting, a person can see that there is outside lighting, aquarium lighting, above the head lighting, and lighting in an aquarium that is in the front of the painting picture. Each light is different than each other. One light is outside lighting from the sun. The next lighting is aquarium lighting from a bright bulb. The above the head lighting could be a fluorescent lamp. And the aquarium lighting that is the closest to us is probably the same bulb that is the aquarium lighting. Each light source is important to illuminating the picture. It is essential to decide what color pigments a person wants to use and how the light is going to reflect on different objects in the scene. To create dimension in the painting, multiple boxes can be laid out in the scene with a variety of points of perspective. With multiple points of interest, objects can be added into the three-dimensional boxes that have been laid out. There are several objects that are different from each other in this painting. When the painting is close to completion, make sure to add those final touches that can make a prettier picture. I've added a rainbow to the waterfall, and I've also highlighted different magma that is coming out of the volcano. The art market is unique. It gives the artist a variety of things to choose from. The paint, markers, and paper are different between companies. Choosing the best paint, markers, and paper can make a project very successful. Art products are just like colors on the color wheel. One art product that is more expensive combined with an art product that is least expensive can achieve extravagant results on the canvas. Variety brush packs are a must for any artist. They contain an assortment of brushes, usually at a value price. The most important brush in a variety brush pack is the foam brush. The foam brush allows for an artist to go over a paint pigment and even out the paint on the canvas. Thumbnail sketches in a deduction process help find the best pose for the character. Working with a thumbnail sketch, a person can select a few of those thumbnail sketches. The thumbnail sketches can be drawn again and enlarged, helping with the design process and finding out what is the best pose for the character to be painted. After developing a character, then a person can go ahead and figure out what background they want the character in front of. The painting process required for the character to be drawn on top of the gesso canvas, painted over the drawing and gessoed canvas, and then redrawn looking at the opaque figure through the painting. This may require several processes in order for the painting to be completed. The colors of gray and black markers that are found in a marker pack can help determine where the shadows, dark areas, and highlights are in the painting. A grid can be made in a computer program. Using a special tool that makes a line, vertical and horizontal lines combined together, a grid can be made across the page. Here, the painting is digitally created using a computer program. Card games that have mythical creatures are popular. This creature was drawn using digital drawing gear in a computer program. To achieve great lighting in this background, there are predetermined areas for dark and light. The best way to decide what is going to be drawn lighter is to draw circles. A small circle is an area that has the most white light. Enrolling in a class at a local college or university is an awesome way to learn about cameras and lighting. In completing this illustration, there are 3 different types of lighting. These 3 different photography lights are a kicker light, a fill light, and a key light. Artists use a variety of pens and markers to illustrate. Those pens and markers help with developing a character. The character design helps with facial features and body poses. The design gets help with thumbnail sketches. These are small sketches that show a variety of different scenes in the same category. Drawing the background first and then the character helps to organize the painting for a final composition. Making adjustments during the illustration and painting process is alright. There's nothing wrong with using your eraser or adjusting how something looks in the painting. In this painting, the lights on the right got raised in order to make the scene look better. Representing a location is rough. There are a variety of different actions required to complete the scheme, and specific details need to be added. Colored markers were used to begin this painting. The scene is going to show the same parts that are in this marker composition with more detail that paint can give with a brush. Using a paintbrush, different effects can be added that boost the scene. In this painting of a plaza, there are abstract elements that make it unique. The painting has large areas and small areas, places for a cartoon figure to cross the street and correlate with the scene. Using different guides and stencils helps the progress of the painting. Without the use of guides, it is important to maintain straight brushstrokes. When going around a corner, a person may have to put down multiple variations of color in order to accomplish the scene. Indoor scenes with artificial lighting are definitely a challenge. They require more precision in positioning where the paint is going to be placed. To help with this painting, I used a triangle ruler. The triangle ruler has a hole cut in the middle. I attached a rope to the ruler, and then I attached the rope to my wrist. To apply a straight line, I would run my paintbrush edge against the ruler edge, and then drop the triangle because it is attached to my wrist. This achieves specific lines to create the painting. This painting shows the importance of a gessoed canvas. A primed canvas allows for multiple applications of different mediums. Pencils, pens, and paint can be applied to the canvas. The gessoed canvas has a texture, and that allows for the paint to adhere to the canvas. An easy way to gesso a canvas, especially a piece of paper, is to paint on top of the piece of paper. Have a towel handy that is bigger than the paper. Lay the towel on top of the paper and rub gently. When a person pulls the towel off of the paper, there is a texture that is left behind. Take the paper and let it dry somewhere, such as a drying rack. Come back to the paper when it is fully dried and ready to paint onto. The color white is integral to the painting process. The color is used first while gessoing the canvas and to prime the canvas. Other colors are used to paint on top of a white base coat in order to achieve a final painting. This painting is unique because it is mostly white in color. To paint on top of the white color, a lighter pigment of paint is typically used. Another way to paint on top of a lighter color is to use washes of a paint pigment. To create a wash, add some paint to a palette that has a tray. Then, add some water by dripping water into the tray or using your paintbrush that is soaked with water to stir into the paint. Continue the process of dripping water into the tray or stir in a wet paintbrush. The paint should be thinned and more pliable. To see if the paint is a good consistency, allow the water and paint to drip freely from the brush. Now that a wash has been created, pick up some of the wash color with a paintbrush. Then lay down a thin layer wash to the canvas area. This wash does not need to dry completely. With a piece of towel, blot out different areas that are very moist. There should be enough paint pigment left to reapply and continue the process until a desired top coat of the washed paint has been applied. Here is the best example of a landscape drawing. I have added squiggly lines in order to begin the conceptual work and design of the painting. Those squiggly lines are remarkably helpful in the painting process. If the artist has made a copy of the squiggly lines and the original artwork, they can use the squiggly lines as a reference to look onto. Using a reference is important in the painting process. The reference may be a photograph, or anything that helps the artist to achieve the best in what they are trying to create. Those squiggly lines help in the painting process because they give a guide to where I can lay down some paint. Instead of using my imagination, which is a helpful tool in the creative process, I get a little bit of relaxation with a guide or a stencil or something that helps create. Gessoing paper is important to the painting process. A sketchbook page can be used now to paint onto. The sketchbook page can be removed from the sketchbook and then gessoed using paint and a large towel. If a marker was used or heavy B pencils, then these lines can be seen through the paper because the gesso is opaque. Getting ready to paint requires a color wheel and deciding what kind of color scheme the painting is going to have. This painting has a color scheme of primary colors and the complementary colors of blue and orange. Solid colors are easily applied to a canvas without creating a wash. Primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, along with secondary colors, orange, green, and purple, are easy to purchase because they are already pre-packaged by paint manufacturers. And when the paint has been applied to the canvas, go over that paint again with the foam brush to even out the paint and have an even coat of consistent color. Art pens and markers help create a painting. They come in a variety of colors and brush tips to apply marker ink to the canvas. Marker outlines can be thick and help to create an edge between the character and the background. Black ink markers can cover a large area of the canvas. Digital drawings come from the newest technologies available. For an artist to get started using digital drawing gear, they need a few machines. These machines include a scanner, a drawing tablet, a monitor, and a personal computer. A drawing tablet has a high-tech screen and a digital pen. The artist holds the digital pen and rubs the nib on top of the screen. This allows for lines and different textures to be created digitally in a computer program. Computer programs for artists help the artist to create. There is a variety of brushes, swatches and swatch colors, gradients, shape building tools, and effects for the artist to use and create the best design imaginable. Digital art programs have two features that are beneficial in mentioning. The first feature is working with layers. Layers can be stacked on top of each other. Each layer has the ability to be edited and manipulated in a variety of ways. When working with layers, it helps to name individual layers. The layer can be referenced and used repeatedly until the composition is complete. The second feature is opacity. Each layer, and also the entire composition, can be toned up or toned down using opacities. If a color is too bright, it can be reduced from 100% to 1%. The advantage of using opacities is that they can be built upon. Layer after layer can be part of the design process. Artists that plan on painting start with a preliminary sketch. The drawings and plans go to a unique scheme. There are 5 basic elements of design. These 5 basic units are material, line, balance, color, and shape. Dimension is created with saturation of color, and the saturation of color has highlights that determine what areas are different than the other. The scene requires depth and a vanishing point. The more material, line, balance, color, and shape that a composition contains gives a sense of gravity. Gravity can intensify the scene and helps to create a really neat painting. Taking an art class is helpful. There are classes offered in a variety of different subjects. These include drawing, graphic design, illustration, and painting. Color theory is also an important college class. There are 3 parts of color theory: the color wheel, color value, and color schemes. Each part builds upon the other. When looking at color, there are 4 different qualities. These qualities are hue, saturation, value, and warm colors. When combining these ideas together, they offer different concepts into what color can provide. Learning about color in design involves different color concepts. These include monochromatic, complementary, and analogous. When an artist combines all of these concepts together, it helps the artist understand and utilize different colors.